Hi, everyone. I'm Vincent Joe.
Hi, I'm Kathy Reed.
And I'm Allison Reed.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Hi, I'm Grace.
We're from the Haydenettes.
I am Mark Henretti.
Ciao a tutti, siamo Rebecca Ghirardi
e Filippo Ambrosini
e vi diamo il benvenuto a
This Week in Skating.
Welcome to This Week in Skating, the weekly podcast bringing you the latest news from the world of figure skating. Here are your hosts, Daphne, Gina, and Mateo.
Welcome to This Week in Skating. It's Gina here. This is our second to last episode of Season 4. Next week, all three of us will be back on to briefly recap the World Synchronized Championships, and then we'll take a look back on the season. In case you missed it, Robert Samuels of the Washington Post joined us for our Worlds recap. Now, Robert was in Prague for Worlds, and he shared with us his thoughts on the event. So check out that episode if you haven't done so already. Now, we recorded that episode with Robert prior to the ISU Skating Awards. So I'm going to start with the ISU Skating Awards, heading into our general skating news. So the ISU Skating Awards took place after the gala of the World Championships. The most entertaining program went to Yuma Kageyama, and it was for his I Wish short program. Best costume went to Ilya Malinin, and it went for his free skate costume, which was designed by Satomi Ito. Best newcomer went to Ami Nakai. Skaters of the Year went to Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizeron. Best Coach went to Philip Di Guillermo. Best Choreographer went to Benoit Richard. And the Trailblazer Award, which is a new award given during the gala, went to Ilya Malinin. Also, some World Championship news. The ISU announced they would not review the deduction applied to Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson's free dance at Worlds. They said the result is final and not subject to appeal. Wing Jing Sui was elected to the ISU Athletes Committee for pairs, and Tessa Tamanin was elected for synchronized skating. They join Adam Higuera, who is the representative for singles, and Evan Bates, who is the representative for ice dance, as well as the representatives for speed skating and short track. Now, with the end of the season, we have reached the point where we're going to hear about skaters who are going to continue next season. We're going to hear about retirements. We're going to hear about partner changes, and we have a lot to share this week. So continuing next season, Japan's Yuna Aoki announced on Instagram she will continue next season. For retirements, Hana Yoshida of Japan announced her retirement from competitive skating. British pair skater Luke Digby announced his retirement on Instagram Sunday. Luke and his partner Anastasia Vipin-Law finished 15th at the 2026 Olympics and 13th at the World Championships. In addition to sharing his appreciation for everyone who has impacted his journey, he mentioned he will marry his longtime girlfriend this summer. Anastasia posted, "I'll be taking some time off to rest and reset before continuing to pursue my career and exploring the possibility of a new partnership." Finland's Lina Sater has announced her retirement from competitive skating, and Austria's Maurizio Zandrin has retired from competitive skating as well. 3 longtime Canadian dance teams announced the end of their partnership. Lily Henson and Nathan Lickers were partners for 15 years. Sandrine Gauthier and Quentin Terrien, partners for 8 years. Alicia Fabry and Paul Ayer, they were also partners for 8 years. All 3 of those teams have split. Paul Ayer did post that he received his Mexican citizenship. His mother is from Mexico City, and he grew up speaking Spanish as his first language. He also lived in Mexico for a year, so we'll have to see if Paul is planning to use his Mexican citizenship for skating purposes. Now, Lily, Sandrine, Alicia, and Paul all posted on Instagram they are looking for new partners. Now, those weren't the only partner changes splits. We had more. Michelle Deutsch and Ryan Hugh of the United States have announced the end of their partnership. Aliska Zakova and Filip Mencel of the Czech Republic announced their split. Athena Roberts and Eric Ellis of Spain will no longer be skating together. We have some new partnerships to mention. Lindsay Ream and Danny Neudecker announced their new partnership on Instagram. They are a pairs team for the United States. Katie Shen and Connor O'Grady are a new pairs team for the U.S. as well. Latona Horchikova and Jenrich Klemek are a new pairs team for the Czech Republic. Other news not related to partnerships, but Skate Japan News reported that Akira Kushida will focus solely on ice dance next season instead of both singles and ice dance. She and partner Koshiro Shimada enter the second year of their ice dance partnership. Amalia Zingis and Vadim Kolesnik and Christina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko have been added to Stars on Ice for select shows. Amalia and Vadim will be in 10 shows in Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, and Missouri. Christina and Anthony will be in 19 shows in Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Illinois, Minnesota, Colorado, Utah, Washington, Oregon, Arizona, Texas, and Mississippi. Now, Jacob Sanchez will be a guest star participating in the Springfield, Massachusetts show. Well, moving on to event results and coverage, there was a few events that took place this past week. The Helsinki Solo Ice Dance International. Gold was won by Lucas Appel of the United States. Silver was won by Elena Pange of Great Britain. And bronze was won by Shin Lee Case of the United States. In the junior event, gold was won by Amal Israilova, silver was won by Sarin McReynolds, and bronze was won by Jessica Burns. You can find results from advanced, intermediate, and basic novice in our show notes. You can also check out our show notes for Black Sea Ice Cup, Rooster Cup Lakes Trophy results. Well, moving on to upcoming events for the week, the World Synchronized Skating Championships is taking place in Salzburg, Austria from April 10th to the 11th. The Helsinki Rockettes look to defend their title in Salzburg. They finished second at both their challenger events this season, though. They lost to Team Unique of Finland and Les Supreme of Canada. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can, in fact, take home the title in Salzburg. Now, Team Unique finished second last year at Worlds. They are also from Finland. They won Britannica Cup, beating the Helsinki Rockettes, and they were third at Marie Lundmark Trophy, where the Rockettes finished ahead of them. So these two teams from Finland have competed against each other this season so far, and one team has finished ahead of the other, and another team has finished ahead of the other. So it'll be interesting to see who will finish on top. I think both teams have a good chance of being the gold medalists. I definitely expect both teams to be on the podium. Now, after finishing fourth at Worlds last year, Canada's Les Supreme has been undefeated this season. They won both of their challengers. Now, Les Supreme had won the last 3 World Championships prior to last year's event, so I think they are wanting to be back on that podium this year. And again, based on some of the earlier competitions, they could be the world champions, given how they have done this season. So I think between those 3 teams, it's going to be very interesting. Now, you can't count out Team USA. They have 2 strong teams that will be competing in Austria, and that one team would be the Haydenettes. The Haydenettes took home medals at the last 2 World Championships. They still haven't gotten that world gold medal yet. And so they're definitely in the hunt. They could pose a threat to the other 3 teams. I would love to see them on the podium again, make it their 3rd straight year. We will just have to wait and see. And of course, the other team for the U.S. is the Skyliners. They finished 8th last year at the World Championships. So another team that we could definitely watch out for. May not be on the podium per se, but definitely will be one of the top teams. Of course, you also have from Canada, Team Nova, who will be competing as well. There are a total of 22 teams competing at the World Championships. It will be live streamed. I believe it will be live streamed on YouTube. So I definitely will be tuning in. If you have never watched a synchronized event before, I highly recommend it, though I will say it is not as good as seeing it in person. I had the opportunity of seeing the 2023 World Synchronized Skating Championships in Lake Placid. It was something I had never experienced before. The atmosphere is very different from a figure skating competition. No offense to figure skating fans, but the synchro fans really know how to get into it. There are noisemakers, they are screaming, they are decked out in their team gear, red, white, and blue for the U.S. teams. Canada was all decked out in red and white. It was really a cool experience. So if you have nothing to do this weekend, check out the World Synchronized Skating Championships on YouTube. Or if you're in Austria, why don't you go and catch the event? And we will be recapping it next week on our last episode of the season. That's not the only event taking place this week. We have the Trevelev Trophy and Noriska Cup, and that is taking place in Slovenia from April 8th to the 12th. We have the Solo Dance Symphony Enya taking place in Enya, Italy from April 11th to the 12th. April 9th to the 12th is the 2026 Florida Open. That is part of the U.S. Solo Dance Series, and that is taking place in Orlando, Florida. And April 8th to the 11th is the U.S. Adult Figure Skating Championships, and that is in Duluth, Georgia. And Ashley Wagner, Adam Rapon, and Sarah Hughes of the run-through will be in Duluth, and they will be having a live show. So we will put a link to that information in our show notes in case you are going to be in Duluth and want to check out their live show. Well, moving on to online updates, along with, skaters announcing if they're continuing or retiring or partner changes and new partnerships, we also have skaters announcing that they are switching coaches. And Nina Pinzaroni, who recently won the world bronze medal, posted on Instagram she is leaving her coach, Anis Buckland, and she hasn't announced who she will be working with going forward. On April 3rd, Chelsea Liu posted an Instagram story of her and Ryan Bedard doing a quadruple throw in practice. So it looks like Chelsea and Ryan are preparing for next season, and maybe we'll see a quadruple throw in competition. And one article we would like to mention is from Anything GOEs. They had an article with Natalia Mishkatunik, and it's talking about her building the next generation of pair skaters. Well, we have reached the end of our episode, but before I sign off, I'd like to shine a lens on our respective websites. At This Week in Skating, we do have our store still online. You can support our podcast while rocking some cool swag. You can also get some items with icedance.com and Figure Skaters Online's logos on them. And if you haven't done so already, join us on Patreon for access to ad-free episodes. The episodes also go up few hours before they go up for the regular public. So if you want your episode a little bit early, join us over on Patreon. Over at icedance.com, the 2026 solo dance season is in full swing, so Daphne is adding result links every week. She also has an interview with Alexa Kruk and John Eisenbauer. They are a junior team from Germany, and Daphne says more interviews are on the way in the coming weeks. Over at FSO, I have posted the preview for the US and Canadian Stars on Ice tour. There is quotes in there from Danny O'Shea, as well as the producer of Stars on Ice. So definitely check that out. And if you haven't done so, get your tickets for Stars on Ice. They may be hard to come by if you haven't gotten tickets already. And I will have photos from the World Synchronized Skating Championships and a recap coming later this week. So, as I said at the beginning of our show, this is the second to last episode of Season 4. We will be back next week. I will be recapping the World Synchronized Skating Championships, and then Mateo, Daphne, and I will all be talking about our favorite moments from this past season. Then after that episode, we will be taking a break. Right now, the plan is for that break to go until at least June. It may be longer, but we will definitely be back with interviews in that time frame. Also, we will be back in time to talk about the ISU Congress, which takes place at the beginning of June. But then we may be on a little bit longer of a break after that. So definitely make sure you check out our episode next week before we sign off from our weekly episodes for a bit. But until then,
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of This Week in Skating. Remember, you can keep up with us throughout the week by visiting our website at www.thisweekinskating.com. Connect with us on social media for additional updates. You can find us on Twitter at This Week in Skating without the E's, or Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at This Week in Skating. You got a burning question or feedback for Gina, Daphne, or Mateo? Reach out to us via social media or drop us an email at thisweekinskating@gmail.com. And if you're really enjoying the show and want to support us further, consider joining our Patreon community at patreon.com/thisweekinskating. Until next time, have a nice week.